Schick Pick 6. I'm Melanie Schickler, and just like last week, we have a ton of football to break down with one story coming out of the MLB as the regular season winds down over there. Let's jump right into it. Pick number 6 is college football, and that's Maryland versus Temple. ESPN gave Maryland a 70% chance to win this game. But after they came off a 43-point win against Syracuse, their offense just could not produce the same type of numbers against the Owls. The Owls defeated the Terps in a nail-biter 20-17. Temple's defense continuously overpowered and overwhelmed quarterbacks Josh Jackson in the backfield. Maryland converted just 5 of 21 third downs and 1 of 6 fourth downs. Maryland left Temple's red zone empty-handed 4 different times. Pick number 5 is the drama down in Jacksonville. Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey made headlines yesterday for fighting with his own head coach, Doug Marrone, who's actually the former head coach of Syracuse football. Ramsey was very upset after he thought an attempted first quarter pass was incomplete, but he wasn't necessarily upset with the refs. He was upset with his own coach for not challenging the call, and in result, the Texans got a field goal off of this drive. He then went over to the bench, and the two had a very heated argument, as you can see here. The Jaguars ended up losing the game 13-12. So yeah, those 3 points in the beginning of the game definitely made a difference. Just hours ago, Jalen Ramsey's agent actually requested a trade, so we'll see what happens with that situation. For pick number 4, we go over to the MLB, and that's Christian Yelich. The Brewers superstar got hurt in the batter's box after he tipped a foul ball off of his own kneecap.
You think they're done?
That's if they weren't playing in Miami and knowing against a team that they know they're supposed to win, that's deflating. If that happened at Wrigley Field, it's like season's done. I mean, the heroics just this last month of what he's done to keep them in the race. I mean, even if they make it into the postseason, who's the guy that's going to make up for that type of damage that he does? No, I just don't see it.
It was later announced that he's now out for the season with a fractured kneecap. This is a huge deal for the entire league. The Brewers are on the brink of a wildcard spot in the NL, and if they want that spot, the rest of the team is going to have to pick up that slack. Not only that, but Yelich was leading the MVP race among Pete Alonso, Cody Bellinger, and Mike Trout. So now that'll sure change who wins MVP. Also, be sure to look out for the NL wildcard race as we close in on the final weeks of the MLB regular season. For pick number 3, we go back to the NFL, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. They've started the season 2-0 after defeating the Dolphins in Week 1 and the Cardinals yesterday in Week 2. I have to attribute their early success to quarterback Lamar Jackson. Yesterday, he went 24 for 37 for 272 passing yards and led the team in rushing yards. He had 16 carries for 120 rushing yards. He's the first player in NFL history to produce those numbers in a single game. He also has 7 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks without an interception. The only other quarterback joining him in that category is Patrick Mahomes. Oddly enough, the two will actually face off next week in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium for a 1 o'clock matchup. Don't miss that. On to pick number 2, and that's the ever-so-hot New England Patriots. They've started the season by outscoring their opponents 76-3. That's only a field goal given up within 2 games. That's insane, and I'm sure the margins will continue to grow with Antonio Brown's presence on the field. But that's if he stays out of legal troubles. He led the team yesterday in receptions against the Dolphins. Brady targeted him for over 50% of his pass attempts. Among those attempts, he had 4 completions for 56 yards, including a phenomenal touchdown reception for his first with his new club. And for pick number 1, we take a look at the Saints vs. Rams game from yesterday. This game couldn't have gone any worse for the Saints. Not only were they outscored 27-9, but their star quarterback Drew Brees got injured. Aaron Donald hit him on the backfield while he was trying to throw a pass. It was ugly. Take a look.
Game Rewind presented by Amazon Prime. It's the 2-time reigning defensive MVP, Aaron Donald. Watch the release on the football. Donald's hand into Drew Brees' hand. And that might not look like much, ladies and gentlemen, but that is a lot of impact and collision on Drew Brees' throwing hand. His fingers appeared to crumple into Aaron Donald's gloved hand.
Adam Schefter reported this morning that Brees will undergo immediate surgery and will be out for at least the next 6 weeks. I'm worried for the Saints without Brees. He's the core of that offense and the reason that they run so smoothly. And yesterday, after he left the game, the team literally fell apart. So I'm curious to see what will happen for the time that he's out. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode of Schick Pick 6. Next week we'll have full coverage of Week 3 in the NFL. See you then.